F and G shit. Shot the whole day, go. Shot the bro Trey Boogie. We slide. Sliding in the rental, trying to run the milli up. In the southeast, Trey Boogie been a plug. Rubber bands on the blues, hella panoramic views. If you get into it with the squad, you can never lose. It's on the flow like Yellow Rider. I got your vibe on her toes like nail polish. In the city, we get respected from everybody. You about to pull up on Trey Boogie, now let's chop it. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. Let's chop it up. Got it wet, it's not a cut. Ain't worried about what nobody else got, cause I got enough. Me and Trey Boogie locked in, he threw a lob, I dunk. Heard the beat and sauced it up, can't nobody go hard as us. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, it's your big homie, Trey Boogie. This is the Friday night chop up, you know, the one where we talk about mental health and physical health issues and more, you know, positive stuff, man, you know. And I want to say I appreciate everybody on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitch. But come over to the YouTube. Come over to the YouTube. We need to break these analytics and, you know, get to moving, man. And we're almost at 10,000 subscribers, so I appreciate all y'all. Yeah. Friday night chop up. So yeah, let's talk about what's going on real quick. Appreciate y'all tapping in. YouTube too. YouTube also. You know, I appreciate all y'all. And we're almost at 10,000 again. So let's share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But yeah, Monday I talked about it a little bit, I talked about it a lot because I had went to the doctor that morning. And so y'all know what's going on with me. As you could tell, as you could see, your big homie, man, is feeling way much better, you know. Lost some pounds, you know, got my energy back up. So I'm glad I went when I went. And like I always say, especially us melanated folks, you know, black and brown folk, you know, yellow. Hey, when something in your body's not right, go to the doctor. Go to the doctor. We don't do it. We don't do it until we have to go, you know. Go to the doctor. You know, big up Shout Body, I see you. Big up Shout Body. You know. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. Everything what I told y'all Monday, you know, it was the diabetes that had me sick. You know, I'm on the medication, I'm on the insulin. Man, I feel like a new person right now. I feel like a new person. And you know, the cancer, told y'all that second spot on my hip didn't light up as cancer, so we keeping an eye on that. And the spot on my abdomen didn't light up as cancer, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Got to do an MRI so they could get a better look. And then we're going to go from there, man. We're going to tackle it. You know, the lymph node in my chest and in my throat didn't show up anymore. It's gone. I don't know if it's the radiation. I don't know if it's the sea moss and the oil of oregano and all the healthy stuff I'm taking, you know, sour sop. I don't know. You know, what I do know is God's not done with me yet. So, you know, like I always say and put on my comments, man, hashtag, I still have work to do. And so do y'all, you know, so do y'all. The topic, though, for today, and I appreciate y'all. I'm not sure if I'm going to open up the call-in line. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see. Because I have a in-house, in-studio guest today. So two of them, you know. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. What I want to talk about and put this out there is like when your physical health affects your mental health. When your physical health, you know, physical condition, physical thing, you know, have so many people that's in the hospital. Um, one of our buddies in Dago, y'all know him, Lord Sims, man. Condolences to your wife, you know. Um, she lost her battle with cancer, you know, young. They got young kids, you know. Face the music, love, love. You know, people just coming out the hospital, people recovering from surgeries. I mean, people dealing with cancer, people dealing with lupus, people dealing with physical disabilities, you know. Y'all know I had him on this show a few Fridays ago. You know, he was talking about fight all the surgeries he had to try to save his foot. And now, you know, he doesn't have it, got amputated, you know. Like people going through things. And even those that, like I tell you all the time, there's a lot of people walking around with undiagnosed mental health issues, right? Because they don't want to go to the doctor. They don't want to go talk to someone. They don't want to, they don't want. But you will have to one day, you know, especially if it's a mental issue, you going to regret you did it. You know what I'm saying? Like I know every time I went to jail, it could have been prevented. You know, it could have been prevented. You know, especially when I was younger, up in New York. You know, my attitude, my anger. I was fresh out the military from combats and stuff. You know, I couldn't do what I was used to doing for those years of my life as I became a man. You know, from a teenager to a man, pretty much. You know, 18 years old, you're a teenager. And I'll just quick with it. One hitter quitters. You know what I'm saying? Me and my guys used to drink in the store on Fridays, find out and figure out where we wanted to go, what club, just to knock out somebody. You know, we had contests, money on the line. Who had the best one hitter quitters? Like, and then we hop in the cab and go to the club, and all it took was somebody to bump into you or step on your shoe. It was action. Mental health. I didn't know I had anger management problems. I didn't know I was dealing with PTSD. You know, I just knew something wasn't right in my head. You know, I was divorced, getting a divorce. I sent my family back to San Diego. I was trying to figure out what was going on with me. You know, the military didn't even know back then. They didn't come up with, I think they used to call it Gulf War Syndrome at first. And this was in 90, it was way, I think 2000, 2001, 2000-ish. It was later on, because I got out in 95, so it was later on when I was, especially when I was back in San Diego, doctors didn't even know, the military didn't know what it was. They kept denying me and telling me nothing was wrong with me. But go see someone. When your physical condition affect your mental health, you know what? I know I ain't the only one. You got 2-minute max. We opening up the calling line. The number 619-720-1775. So yeah, you know, think about that though. Make sure. I'm gonna just say, I ain't gonna say make sure because I ain't the boss of you. Think about it. If you got some type of untreated trauma, anger issues, something, you know, your body ain't feeling right. It's your body. You've been in it all your life. You know when something ain't right. Go get seen, because, you know, I've been fighting for 4 years almost now. When I got diagnosed, I was stage 1. So, you know, and been fighting and treating and treating and treating. If it were untreated, I probably wouldn't have been here right now. So, you know, when your physical health affects your mental health. I'm not going to be with the calling line open for too long. You know, like I said, I got a studio guest, and we got a lot to talk about. He's doing some good things and working for a company that's doing great things. Great things. I wish, but we'll talk more about it. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna play this short video, and then I'm gonna be back with my guest, the first guest. Again, thanks for tapping in. Thanks for staying loyal and, you know, supporting the headquarters, Trey Boogie, Boogie's Flavor. I appreciate Yes, sir. We getting it together right now. We got my studio guest, my first studio guest. Let me get this right. Let's scoot over some. Matter of fact, we're going to get this right, y'all. Let's get it right. There we go. Like that. Nah. There we go. We got our first guest of the night, y'all. I'm trying to get to something. That's why and the phone just went off, but we're good. Y'all see right now our first guest, man. There we go. Mr. Alberto Melchor. Let's give it up for him. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Trey.
Let's get them. Go ahead. I'm sorry, y'all. We trying to get everything together. Scoot this way, son. Towards me. Yes, sir. We're good now. Well, yeah. Go ahead and introduce yourself to them real quick. Let them know about you. Like I said, it's a good program he's with. I wish I had that back in the day, you know. Man, go ahead and let them know.
All right. Yeah, my name is Alberto Melchor, and I'm with the program called Empowered Fathers, and it's support services specifically designed for men, because so we're trying to support men because there's traditionally been a gap in services for guys, for dads. Traditionally, a lot of the programs out there are a lot of times geared for for women and kids, which is fine. It's great. But there's also been kind of a gap for the guys, for the dads out there. So, it's a county-funded program. They're realizing that, or they're finally acting on the notion that fathers are important.
Yeah.
And that fatherhood is important, and so we're trying to support the guys out there that are trying to do the right thing. So we offer like a parenting class for fathers. It's a 12-session class, and it's a good thing. I'm relatively new to the place, but I've been working the workshops and working with some of the guys, and they appreciate it. Again, we offer support in just whatever. We meet them where they're at. So, we try to help them with solutions. And then again, we do this parenting workshop, fathering workshop, and it's a good thing. Like you said, it's something I would have made appreciated
Really?
when I
Really?
first started having my kids. Um, I didn't get anything like that, but it's good. We do this class. It's a group of guys, and we just kind of go over um, like what it means to be a father and the responsibility that it entails.
Mhm.
Um, your commitment, and a part of that is taking care of yourself. You just mentioned, um, taking care of your mental health,
Yeah.
taking care of your physical health,
Yep.
and how they feed off each other. And so we're doing that, and it's a good thing. I'm glad you mentioned about traumas,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the other thing that we do. We do some education around that, specifically trauma. So I'm gonna get all formal uh, because you mentioned mental health
Yeah.
and physical
It all
health.
plays a part of each other.
Yeah, and you mentioned trauma, right? So,
Correct.
um, I- good. Most of the folks out there that have some kind of mental health concern, usually it's because of some kind of past trauma,
Hmm.
and they're the the scientists, or the people that study these things. They're like realizing that more and more,
Yeah.
right? So, um, Kaiser did a study with the CDC, Center for Disease Control, and
Mm.
Kaiser. They did a long-term study about how trauma affects
Your mental.
people well in mental health and the physical
Yeah.
health well into adulthood, right?
Yeah.
So they came up with something called ACEs, which means it's ACEs. ACES stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences,
Mm.
and so and they define those as things that happen to you from like 0 to 17.
Okay.
So, um, like if you went through
Abuse.
like
Anything.
abuse, physical abuse, um, sexual abuse, um, if you live in a neighborhood with a lot of violence and crime
Mhm.
or domestic violence, and so they came up with this scale. There's like 10 questions that you ask folks, and then it gives them a score, something called an ACEs score.
Mm.
And the higher your score, the more likely that you're going to have some kind of consequence as a
Later on.
result of that. Yeah. And, so, the folks that had more like a higher score, um, usually had some kind of challenges later on in life, substance abuse, PTSD, um, or unhealthy, alcoholism,
Mm.
um,
Something.
hypertension, um, and a lot of it all goes back to that untreated trauma,
Yeah.
and the mental health, right? So I'm glad. I'm really happy to hear you telling your audience to get checked,
Oh yeah.
to go see the doctor, because that's a big barrier. I mean, uh, when I was growing up, I'm 52 now, and people's attitudes have changed.
Youngster.
I wouldn't say so. Uh, but when I was younger, a teenager or a young adult, um, the whole mental health thing was
Oh, yeah.
it was not a positive thing. There was a lot of a stigma attached to it, um, and like you said, people were just kind of functioning undiagnosed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't talk to no one anyway. You had to suck it up back then.
Exactly. And so I'm glad that now there's more acceptance. Treatment is more accepted, and like you said, you know, the doctors out there or the therapists. Um, you know, there are tools to kind of deal with that, right?
Now, now,
Yeah, there was a book. I'm gonna say maybe in the '90s. It's called Always Running, and it's about a gangster in L.A. Luis Rodriguez, and he wrote a book of, you know, he was a gangster in L.A. in the '80s, I believe, and then he had a son that got involved in the gangs, and um, he kind of said what you know, something that similar to you said, like, you know, because his son went to jail, um, and he said, you know, he doesn't need to go to jail. He needs psychiatric care. He needs services. That's what he actually needed.
yeah,
Um, but at that time, again, the attitudes were much different.
Yeah.
Right? Um, so now, you know, we're working with guys that are trying to do the right thing. You know, they want to learn about being a father and kind of going forward and getting some new skills. Um, you know, some of them are young, just having their kids, but already kind of dealing with past trauma.
it's rough being a young parent. That's a hard thing to do right there.
Yeah. So, you know, we're doing some education around that, and then, and again, it's like a support for guys.
And
so,
Not to cut you off,
Yeah,
that's cool because, like I was saying too, you know, I wish I could have had somebody I could help, you know, to advocate for me, to give me what I needed, the tools I needed, like when I was going through a custody battle, you know, and child support and stuff. You know, I had the children, but was paying child support, you know, and there was no one to help men out, you know. So I'm glad y'all doing that, and you do mentoring, and you mentioned the classes you guys do, the training and stuff. Are you working with the courts too? Like if someone got in some trouble with the, you know,
Yeah.
and have to take parenting classes, or do you guys
yeah.
work with them too?
So, like, we don't work directly,
Okay.
like, with the courts, right?
Okay.
Like, the courts are not saying, okay, go take a parenting class, a fathering class with these guys.
You're there in case.
But
you're another
however,
avenue.
we're out there, we're in the community, and fathers have come to us, and they have sometimes custody issues or you know, child support stuff that they're trying to straighten out, and we work with them. You know, a lot of it is just teaching them how to navigate those systems, right?
Yeah.
Because you know, some guys, like, they want to see their kids, they want to do the right thing, but you know, they may not know, like, oh, I need to go to this office, I need to fill out this form, or I need to do this. So we kind of help them through that, navigate the, you know, government systems, you know, and when they finish the class, they get a little certificate, and they can take that certificate to family court
That's
or
cool.
whatever court that they're, and you know, a couple of guys have gotten an increase in their custody time. You know, they go back in front of the judge saying, look, you know, I took this class, and you know, we've kind of written letters on their behalf, you know, saying, yeah,
That's
you know,
cool.
he came in, he's doing the right thing. And so we do right now we have 2 live classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sorry, yes, Tuesday mornings and Thursdays, but we're also going to start up a new group. We're calling it Extended Support. And that's just like a weekly for some of the guys that have graduated, or anybody really that, you know, it's just an additional support for the guys. They can come in and, you know, express their whatever concerns they have, and get some feedback and some additional support. So
That's cool. And that's hey, anybody out there, you know, your son, maybe you going through it, need some assistance, your son, your cousin, your, you know, nephew, someone you know, it's another outlet, and they doing good work. Empowered fathers, they say it in the title right there in the name, you know. I think that's dope, you know, and we you know, we met up and talked about it, and I was like, yo, this is a good program right here, you know.
Yeah, you know, I was. We had a graduation ceremony yesterday. We had 8 guys that finished the course.
Okay.
We had a ceremony for them. Um, Not all were able to show up because because of work and whatnot. But um, one of the guys pulled me aside a little after, and he's a professional. He's a counselor, and he's like, I really appreciate this. Um, I'm gonna keep coming on Tuesdays because this really helps me out. He's like a single dad. He has 4 kids, and he's grinding, man. He's grinding, and so.
And he reached out. That's the biggest thing, He reached out.
Mm-hmm. And so he gets that extra support, and you know what? It's the other guys can learn from him, and we learn from them too. So, it's a good program. I'm digging it. I like what I'm doing up there. We're gonna have a table at the Linda Vista Parade and Cultural Fair on the 26th.
Okay.
1 week from tomorrow, we're gonna have a little booth up there. So I'll be out there giving away little prizes or giving out more information. So yeah, and it's just a good resource for the guys that sometimes they don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And we're there to kind of help guide them through and refer them to service if they need it, or just kind of help
dope.
walk them through that. Yeah.
I like that. Like I said, man, for fathers, because we matter too. We matter too. There's so many programs out there, but not a lot for fathers. So, man, I commend the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
And everything you doing.
Yeah.
Any last things you want to say? It's all on you right now.
Yeah, no, just the kind of research out there is is that when fathers are involved in their kids' lives, they have better outcomes. They achieve more. They have higher self-esteem. And of course, I'm talking about like a positive father, right? And that's where our parenting class comes into, because to just give the guys that awareness, what it takes to be a dad, and then all the stuff that comes with it. So like I mentioned earlier, taking care of your health, being a modeling behavior for your kids.
Gotta be an example.
Yeah, so and that's important, right? Because if you have a son, right, your son is gonna kind of look up to you and say, okay, this is the type of dad that I want to be.
Yeah.
And also for the daughters, a lot of times the daughters, they kind of model their future partners, the fathers of their kids. That's the first like template that they have. That's the first model.
The first man they fall in love with.
It's
So
their dad. Yes.
Yeah.
Taking care of that, how to communicate. If you're not together with your wife or ex-girlfriend or whatever, how to communicate appropriately. Just because it's not going to help the kids if the relationship is
right. If that's
acrimonious.
What they see.
Yes,
It's monkey see, monkey do. So
yeah,
if you see that in the house, you're gonna think that's the way to handle things. I've seen a lot of violence in my house. So I used to be a real violent person. You know what I mean? But I didn't have that person in my ear or a program like you guys, you know.
Yeah, and we all make mistakes. Some guys have made their mistakes. I've made my mistakes.
We're human.
But what are you gonna do after, right? And so yeah, it's just kind of gives that like the class like a whole idea of the different aspects of being a dad.
Okay.
Like I said, being a good role model, showing your kids how to communicate, taking care of yourself, and then kind of evaluate. Okay, what does it mean to be a man, right? Because
that's an important question right there.
Because it's a lot different than when you and I were coming up.
Way different. Way different.
So, with the guys that I've worked with, I think a good majority, they said, my dad, like a lot of them said, all I remember, he just worked. He just went to work, and he was always at work, and there was no, very little like
time together,
emotional bonding, or it wasn't very affectionate. A lot of them have been saying that, and to a certain extent that was
that's old school parenting, old school father work.
So that's what we grew up with, but it's a lot different now, right? Because they had that. Okay, dad worked, mom stayed at home, but it's not like that anymore because.
The dad may be at home and the mom working,
but now both need to be working just to try to make it, right?
Couple jobs.
Yeah, I mean, if you're living on one income, you got to be doing good. Like you're bringing in some bank. Otherwise, it's both people are grinding.
Real
so
talk.
yeah, so it's changing. So it's okay. What does it mean to be a man? And it just also on stuff like encouraging the guys to take care of business at home too, getting the kids ready for school, helping mom out if mom also came back from a long day at work.
Be involved.
Be involved, exactly. Be involved, and that's where the better outcomes come in, right? If the father is involved, the kids generally do better, and we know that. But now I guess they can prove it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense because a lot of us, like myself, grew up with their grandparents. You know what I'm saying? And they had their own kids, so it's like, and they were old school. And when you became a certain age and was out on your own and become a father, you trying to do something you wasn't really taught. You were raised by grandparents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not a mom or a dad, or what I mean. So you don't know, especially men. Us, we don't. I say it's on the job training anyway because I'm a way different parent now that I'm older than I was when I was younger.
Yeah, exactly.
I have more tools now, and I always say, I didn't know what a real man was until I was like 40. To be real, I had to be honest with myself. I didn't really know. There's a difference between being grown and a man.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I appreciate. I'm glad the program is there now. For people now. You know what I'm saying? So we could break these cycles and generational curses.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, I grew up in the hood in LA. We didn't have a whole lot of money, and a lot of times that's where, if you're growing up in that kind of environment, then you're exposed to gangs, drugs, or
the streets,
trauma, right? And then you have those type of experiences. Like you mentioned, for most of the guys that we see, they're melanated, as you said.
Yeah, us melanated folks.
So it's a kind of community, a really grassroots community effort. So I'm proud to be a part of it.
Hey, we thank you and appreciate what you're doing. We'll have the call-in number. You could tell the number right now. So and I'll have it on the write up later on.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, our office is actually in Escondido, but and we serve basically like from the 8 freeway north.
Okay.
But I also work individually with people, and we have 3 other guys working. We have Devon Williams. He's a father advocate. We have a guy named Ralph Muñiz. He's the father advocate, and we have Rafael Herrera, and we all work also individually. So if people can't make it up to Escondido, we'll come to you.
Oh, that's cool.
And
That's
so I'll
cool.
show you the phone number is 760-294-1982.
Y'all got it, and I'll have it up too.
And you know, we have
You're right, K9, fatherhood.
and we have a Instagram page, and like I said, I'm going to be at the Linda Vista parade next weekend on 26th. So, you know, if somebody wants to come, you know, meet us, we'll be out there. We'll probably have some little game for the kids, or you know, little wheel thing to spin for a little prize.
Something.
And,
Okay.
So yeah.
That's cool. Alberto, say your last name. How you said?
Melchor. I say
See.
Melchor. And
Melchor. He said it the American way.
yeah.
Earlier he said
Melchor.
Yeah.
It's Melchor in Spanish.
He said, "Hey, we appreciate it coming on, y'all.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, Trey.
You know,
and I'm real happy to see you're a lot better.
thank you,
That's good news.
thank you,
Good news, brother.
my man. Appreciate you. Hey, let's give it up for Albert.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Thank you, everyone. You are now welcome aboard the G-Man Experience.
So yes, you know, we're back. The Friday night chop up, you know, that's a lot of information right there. Some good information that, you know, some news you could use. That was some news you could use. So, you know, Friday night chop up. I appreciate everybody on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. I appreciate you guys. I always appreciate y'all giving me a little bit of time on Friday nights to hang out with your boy, your big homie's big homie. You know, I might be back on in a few minutes on a new link though. I got something else I gotta take. We're gonna do, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and make a link for that and come back for you guys on another podcast. Big up to y'all, man. Face the Music, K9 Compton in the house, my brother. Us Before Me, the Thug Bible Movement, Shout Body, my brother. Appreciate everybody on here, man. I appreciate y'all. You know, you could be anywhere else, but y'all right here with your big homie's big homie. Hey, it's Trey Boogie. It's the Friday night chop up. I holla.
F&G shit. Shout
Big homie Trey Boogie.
We slide.
Johnny Rocket.
Sliding in the rentals, trying to run the millie up. In the southeast, Trey Boogie been a plug. Rubber bands on the blues, hella panoramic views. If you get into it with the squad, you can never lose. It's on the flow like Yellow Rider. I got your vibe on the toes like nail polish. In the city, we get respected from everybody. You about to pull up on Trey Boogie, now let's chop it. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. Let's chop it up. Got a wet as not a cut. Ain't worried about what nobody else got, cause I got enough. Me and Trey Boogie locked in, he threw a lob, I dunk. Heard the beat and sauced it up, can't nobody go hard as us. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up. If you talking about the game, let's chop it up. If you talking about the hustle, let's chop it up. If you talking about the grind, let's chop it up. Talking about some fly vibes, baby, let's chop it up.